Hi. Happy Pride. I hope you are all having good days. I'm not. Sorta. I had to run and I couldn't breathe. But that's okay because not the end of the world. I'm trying to do something artistic for Pride this year, actually, and not giving up a week through. Which means I won't do something every day, probably. Yay. I decided that I was going to draw some of my queer characters and talk about their identities while doing so. I'm starting with one of my protagonists, Njörd. Njörd is technically, biromantic, asexual, cis male. But for the sake of the video I'll be discussing his biromanticism and asexuality. When I first created Njörd, he wasn't originally queer at all. In fact, he was the antagonist for one of my later protagonists, but I liked how he looked so much that I couldn't bear to make him one. Thus his descent into getting his own story, and horrors. Him being bi came about, because I would like the idea of shipping him with other male characters far too much and figured I might as well make him bi so I don't go against his sexuality. I know it's not the best way, or even a good way, of deciding for a character to be bi, but it works in the story and now I just can't see him any other way, so it stays. Njörd's asexuality wasn't something I ever really thought about when I was first making his story, because he's a minor for the majority of it. Not that minors can't be no, that they're asexual, they absolutely can. But because Njörd would be a minor I didn't ever consider him having sex. Because he's a child. That's weird to write about. But then one day I just figured he could be ace. No particular reason. I just felt like it. His partner, who shares his identity except that she's a woman, was obviously also asexual and so at a point, it was just like, why not? But back to his biromanticism. Within the story Njörd is in romantic relationships, with two different girls, at different times. Completely different times. And he references a male crush he had back when he was around 12, a few times. He never feels weird referring to his bi-ness because in his world his species, witches, are commonly queer, way more than humans are. I could actually use really any other label under the bi umbrella to label him, based on how much gender really doesn't matter to him in terms of attraction, but oh well. Because I have insecurities on how his biromanticism functions in the story in terms of, quote, unquote, forcing attraction, I've made it so his love interests, so to speak, all share physical characteristics at least a little bit, such as curly long hair, or personality traits, like being strong-willed, or generally having a strong personality. If you actually experience attraction, I'd love to hear anything you have to say on this as well, because I have basically never liked someone romantically in my life. Njörd's asexuality isn't brought up much in the story, because sometimes, it's hard to write the lack of something for someone that doesn't know the opposite is an option. But he is asexual. It's more hinted at than anything with the way he describes his partner and how he feels because asexuality isn't a voidness, at least for him. It's not something he's lacking, and he never thinks he is, and I think that's great for him. Now, a warning for mentions of child sex trafficking and adjacent activities. You can click off the video or skip to this time if you don't feel comfortable hearing about that. I won't go into graphics. Nothing is described, just so you know. He is still a child. I don't feel comfortable with any of that stuff. I felt it important to mention, at least for me, that Njörd is both asexual and a survivor victim of CST, the aforementioned practice. This is because, as a general thing, Sometimes, people may believe that the only reason that someone is asexual is because of bad sexual experiences like rape, sexual assault, or something similar, when that is just not true. I don't know if assault can quote-unquote turn someone asexual, or if it can just cause an extreme avoidance toward those situations, but nevertheless it's still valid for that person to feel the way they do, asexual or not. In Njord's case, it has nothing to do with his experiences. He was born ace. He has complicated feelings about what happened to him, but it in no way has any relation to his lack of sexual attraction. It may have influenced his relationship with sex itself, but not attraction. While it is Pride Month and I do want to use this time to talk on queer identities, I would say that it's also important to discuss queer people/characters as themselves as well, which is why I will go on about Njörd a little more. All the love to real queer people too, and people part of the LGBTQ+ community if you prefer that label. I hope you have a great Pride Month and year. Hoping for joy. Njörd is also someone with low empathy and poor social skills. He normally has a hard time discerning what people are feeling if it isn't written on their faces, and he doesn't care for most people. This is not to say he is a horrible person or a people hater, or that people like him. He's quite truthful and will be nice to someone if he believes that is the truth. He almost never intends to be malicious, not that it takes away from what he says when he says it, and says what's on his mind because he feels like it should be said. Of course this can come out wrong, and sometimes he shouldn't say the things he does, but it's what I like about his character now that I've reworked him. He has room to grow, but he never quite changes. Consciously he makes an effort. He knows how to be good. He knows what to say to people and when. He's learned to care for others as real people with real emotions. But again, he makes those decisions, and they take years to pull off. His empathy grows emotionally a little, but it's mostly his partner's extensive efforts to help him, and choices of being kind that result in the new way he acts once he becomes an adult. In terms of how I will write him, he's probably my second favorite just behind the girl, but I'll get to her on another video, hopefully. Anyways, if you stayed for the video, thank you. If you have anything you would like to add, be it the accuracy of any of the things I discussed in this video, then please do if you like. If not, enjoy this last bit of this video with a song I feel fits Njörd.
In a month full of blood, in tongues all over the world, I said it, I didn't, it doesn't matter what I said or didn't. Admit it, you were never going to get it, I was always gonna get it. Can't pick them out, can't press them in, I'll never hide my scars.